All right, hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. And this is an educational channel, and we focus on the not very much focused on subjects that we think are important to kind of resurrect or recycle back into the general consciousness. This is a segment that is called Your Blind Side, where I try to protect the backs, the sixes of the patriot diggers, anons, and truthers out there who are maybe buried in a rabbit hole and are doing great work, but maybe aren't seeing the big picture or aren't seeing certain trends um, and not seeing the forest for the trees. Now, as you may know, if you've been watching this, I've pretty much decided that the info war is over, and or over for all intents and purposes, and that is a little use for you to uh, continue to pay attention to it, or at least continue to invest yourself in it. You do need to continue to pay attention, especially if you have a podcast. You have listeners who rely upon your analysis. But at the same time, it would be nice to kind of rebrand and redeploy yourself into your continuing education, which would include continued red pilling. And so that is kind of what I um, advise for people. And in particular, red pilling your own conditionings, beliefs, values, holidays, heroes, cultural norms and expectations. Because these things are as much psyops as all of the psyops that you've dug up from the 20th and 21st century of, news, so called. But you just don't know about them because you haven't gone deep enough. Your digging has been confined to these recent areas. But the deeper areas further back in history where your values were established um, and even like taken for granted, um, these have not been examined. And you can see this in the Christians. Um, Everybody kind of on the right knows that um, a lot of libs get triggered by Trump derangement syndrome. Even just the mention of his name or thinking about him gets them angry. And if they think that you're associated with them, they won't even um, bow to converse with you or argue with you. They just storm out and get outraged. And this is really kind of like a trance where these are smart people, but they just can't control themselves once a certain thing, because our rote memory it has a level of automaticity that it things that trigger you, and you're not conscious of it. Even though other people that watch you might be conscious of it. And so, um, even though they're smart people, they're not um, uh, acting smart. Um, and we can see that. And it's pretty blatant sometimes. Um, but the right has the same kind of trance, exactly the same kind of trance, but instead it has to do with Christianity and the Bible. And those two words or concepts or you know constellations, they trigger the right into this kind of deferential mode where they have to honor these things and they can't criticize, they can't scrutinize, they can't deconstruct, they can't dig on them. They have to kind of take it at face value. And so you have these people who like read the Bible, um, but they don't know what the Bible is. They're reading something that they don't know what it is. And to me, you have to get the context first before you get anything else. So I see that as a parallel. You can see that the deference comes in as soon as those subjects are raised. Um, so a couple items just look out for the ops that are going on. One op is the communists are taking over op, and um, I just don't see this as actually happening. I It's happening, but it's just not. It's being greatly exaggerated. And what's going on in New York is an op. There's no way that that kind of thing is happening as a result of fair and free elections. So I don't know if it's part of the election fraud app or whatever, or I mean, election fraud op. Um, but you know, the administration is all up in arms about the communist threat, and some of the podcasters are going crazy, um, you know, talking about how communism is this or that or this or that. I consider myself to be like a micro communist. Like um, I think everything is a shade of gray, and it's never black or white. And I am basically an anarcho-capitalist, um, but I throw in this 1/10 of 1% of socialism. You know, I think that no matter how big of a piece of garbage you are and how lazy or drug addicted or whatever it is that you are, you still deserve to live, and but you just don't deserve to live well. You deserve to wear sweatpants and a t-shirt and you know um, running shoes and eat vegan um, fruits and vegetables with no condiments or whatever. You know, you probably be healthier that way. And I feel like you should be able to do that at any point in your life, no questions asked. If you're having a crisis in your life, you can check into the welfare, um, you know, booth or whatever and get all of those things provided for you until you figure out what it is that you're trying to do. And I really don't believe that people, when if they are self-respecting, if they are given the opportunities, that they would spend their whole life in indolence. I think that after a certain amount of indolence,